Hey guys, Crowbar Zero for yet another video today. Because I'm just going to town, I had today off, and I'm just going to try to knock as many of these out. Hopefully I can get through half of them, but we'll see. The next episode, which is today, or this one, episode 5, is going to be for Hope's Tower. I really feel like making a Star Wars New Hope joke, but yeah. I think that ship sailed. So, yeah, they sent me theirs. It looks like they really want to work on being able to try to devo their tower, and also, without accidentally killing enemies that are in that process, so they can basically hoard enemies. And speaking of, let's see here. Let me just pull up this one. You can see their ultimate weapons here. Why I usually recommend smart missiles specifically is because of prots. And I forgot to mention that in some of my other videos, so if I'm ever mentioning smart missiles, at least synchronized with the rest of your econ items, it's specifically so you can clear out prots. Because they come in, they clog up your black hole, and they're just a general pain in the butt. So if you're doing something like Orb Devo, they're not going to die. They're just going to sit there and protect all their buddies, and you're like, well, there's half of that proc of my GT and black hole. That's hasta la vista, baby. And then, as you're going up into higher tiers, you're going to get more prots. So there's going to be more likelihood of them clogging up your black holes, and it's just a giant pain in the butt. So that's why I usually recommend trying to synchronize that. Multiverse Nexus, if you don't have things synced up already, then you can use that, get most of their stuff synced up, and at least you've got that, even if prots are clogging up your black holes. But yeah, that's why I usually advise on that one. It's just been so long since I came up with that strategy of like, hey, let's nuke out these prots with smart missiles, that I just completely forgot to mention why. Anyway, so speaking of, we've got another person who's got this one is like 4 pictures in one, so it's a little bit harder to see. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of dive into some of this while I'm managing my my upgrades inside here. So like all the others, I'm just kind of seeing this for the first time. We've got some things that are definitely not synced together, like the Death Wave. So currently, Multiverse Nexus is going to be really nice until they can get this cooldown synchronized with the rest of these two. I'm just going to see what they're using. Looks like they are using Multiverse Nexus, so that's good. And it looks like we've got some cards here. They've got, looks like commons, rares, but they're not quite to the point of having the epics done. So they're actually they're chugging along, and not too bad. Like they're not capped for modules. So for now, I would say as far as the cards go, I would probably draw on those. And then once you've got these ones done, which, like, Hope's almost there. Yeah. So they'll be done with that, and then they can just focus all their gems on modules. And yeah, be pretty simple from there. As well as extra card slots. They probably actually might want to grab that extra one, but depending on how things are playing out for them currently, we'll see. Let me start in the first one. That's right here. Okay. So they want to be able to devo and not just completely, yeah. So some of the things as far as devo goes is you basically want to minimize the number of attacks per second and the things that are just going to instant kill enemies, with some exceptions. There's like Orb Devo, in which case, you're going to use orbs to do the killing for you, in which case prots are a big problem. If you're using like an Orbless Devo, where you don't have orbs, but everything else is effectively the same, then, that's it. But, so like as far as your workshop goes, when you respec, you're going to want your attack speed at 0. For any sort of farming build, you're going to want your attack range minimal, because you want your black hole, which is not modified by your... it gets pushed out farther, the farther your tower range is. And you want to have that encompass as much around your tower as possible, especially if you're hoarding enemies, because if there's a bunch of enemies around your tower, you want them to just be able to pull all of them off, and then you nuke them all out. So, let's see. We're taking down attack range to 0. You take a multi-shot chance down to 0, rapid fire down to 0, and bounce shot chance down to 0. Damage per meter, you can also do that as well. It's up to you. And then over on the health side, I would say a good starting point is about 1% thorns. And the reason for that, it looks like you do have maybe thorns on one of your modules, so you probably want to actually take that down to 0. Let me see what... We don't have any pictures of like the substats of your modules, but I can tell from this you're over 100%. So I would level that down to 0 and just use that base amount, that small amount of thorns. And the reason why I went a low generally, if when I was devoing, is because enemies, as they hit you more, their damage is going to heat up, which means it's going to do more and more damage, and eventually that's going to break through my absolute defense and actually start to damage me. Or to the point where, maybe it's actually threatening me enough where it might actually kill me. Hopefully not. So a little bit of thorns, just kind of like, okay, you're basically like, okay, you're only allowed to hit me so many times. And it kind of butters them up a little bit, so when they get pulled into Black Hole, and Black Hole's doing some damage, they're already buttered up, so hopefully the Black Hole itself might actually finish them off, and you don't have to worry about your bullets themselves actually having to do the killing blow. Usually I would do like a knockback chance, maybe minimize that. Probably want to knock back force as well, because you just want the enemies right nice and close to you. Orb speed, you can leave that maxed out, but the number of orbs, depending on what build you're doing, if you're doing like an Orb Devo, which with what you have right now is probably what I would lean towards more, and allowing the orbs to do the killing. And I've got some videos as far as doing Orb Devo in my channel. There's a lot of videos at this point, so it's kind of getting down there. But you can kind of see the full Devo as far as how that goes. But yeah, you can have orbs if you're if you don't have smart missiles. Yeah, and just let the orbs. Shockwave size. So with like an Orb Devo, which is what I'm recommending for what I see right now. The shockwave size you want just far enough so when the shockwave goes out, it pushes the enemies into the orb line, but not too far past it. And actually, even talking about the orbs themselves, I might only use just like one. So you might actually want to knock down the orbs to maybe 1, just so you can get as many enemies to slip by initially the orb line, but when all your econ goes off, they're held in place by Black Hole, and or maybe some of the other ones that might accidentally get like pushed out. Hopefully that gets pushed out into that. Yeah. But you may or may not need the shockwave size. I don't think it's as important as it used to, but yeah, you can kind of play around with that and see how like a minimal setting versus max. As long as you start at a minimal place, you can always just build it up in around and see how everything plays out. Landmine chance, you're going to want that at 0 because you don't want your landmines to be stealing kills. And then, but you can work on like the landmine damage or the radius. That's fine. Death Defy, that's perfectly fine as is. And then eventually, when you start getting wall stats, usually the wall kind of starts out on the weaker side, but as you build it up, it'll be a lot more resilient to taking hits. Only downside of the wall is you have to lab for the wall to have Thorns effect. So, and if the enemies are hitting the wall, they're going to heat up their damage on the wall, which might make them a lot more threatening when they pass your wall and start hitting you. So just keeping that in mind as like a drawback when you do get wall. The picture is cut off, so I can't see if you have it or not, but yeah. And then going on to the utility, you're going to want to take down your free ups, so the attack, the defense, and the utility. Obviously the utility because it's going to affect all of them. And then you're going to work on basically using your cash to buy out these. Let's see. We talked a little bit about... actually, we didn't go into huge depth about the ultimate weapons, but I think right now, from what I can see, I would say the cooldown, getting that down to the same as the others, which would be 3 minutes and 20 seconds, will be really helpful. As far as everything else, let's do some math here for the black hole duration. 23 seconds plus 12, that puts us up to 35 seconds. So actually, maybe 2 more seconds of black hole will actually be a pretty good idea. That'll bring that up to the same amount of time that you've got for Golden Tower, and everyone's a happy camper. Also, the more quantity that you have, the more likely that you're going to be able to capture enemies or like kill enemies when they're in the spotlight. So if you do lab for spotlight coin bonus, basically you get a lot more out of that lab. The higher your angle is, the higher the quantity. Overall, the higher coverage you have. So if they're not in it, then you're not getting that bonus. So quantity is really nice. But if you're really pushing for the econ, as well as, I would say, this really helps with actually building effective hit points. So right now, where you're at, I think getting Deathwave cooldown is a really strong choice for you. Let's see, next one, we've got some enhancements. Oh, wasn't expecting to see any enhancements, but we got some here, which is awesome. Yep. I'd worry more about the workshop, but when things are nice and simple to get out of the enhancements, then by all means, go ahead and dip in. And we got the cards. I talked a little bit about, the gems. You could probably finish off over here, and then I don't think this is going to take too terribly long to finish out. I could be wrong. But it'll probably be really nice to be able to finish off some things like Wave Acceleration, Berserker, yeah. And then just work on the modules. Right now you're using Multiverse Nexus, it's obviously to help synchronize everything nicely together, and then G-Comp. I think that's fine for now. Once you do get smart missiles, and personally I think that's a strong play just to clear out those procs. At that point you would probably not want to use these, and you might want to replace the G-Comp with something like Singularity Harness. But yeah, that always requires a little bit of testing for everyone's account, and yeah, see how that plays out. Doesn't look like you've got any crazy sort of... Yeah, actually, that's a great module for farming. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Getting a decent bonus out of that, probably. Yeah. And then for tournaments, you just slot in death penalty and you're rocking and rolling. With this, to be able to heal up packages, obviously you want regen. Well, Regen Lab is not going to do anything for your towers regen, but all the other regen stuff should be really helpful. It's like a regen substat. Probably want like a defense plus and regen substat on this. And then as far as this one, we've got favorites. So we've got lab speed. I would definitely perm that. This is really small to look at, so... Looks like we've got Deathwave Cell bonus that you're working hard towards. Spotlight bonus. Right now, your Spotlight's kind of... you only got one quantity. It's not going to do much for you right now. It's going to do a little bit. But... yeah. Ooh, I just got slammed with a bunch of messages. Yeah. I think right now, some of the solid choices. At this point, you probably don't need Garlic Thorns anymore unless vampires are still a problem. Coins per kill, that's solid. Your enemy attack level skips, that's really solid to work on. Deathwave health, that's going to be really solid for your survivability. Golden Tower bonus, that's a great one to work on as well. So yeah, if I would switch out anything right now for where your tower is at, I would probably not do the Spotlight coin bonus. Which sounds really weird that I'm actually saying that, but yeah. Big fan of that one. But what I would recommend is black hole damage. Like black hole damage would be really, really nice. It looks like you're already working on the coin bonus for black hole. And then this one's really hard for me to see, so I'm going to get really close to the screen. Looks like, the cell bonus for Deathwave. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's solid. But yeah, I'd trade out the Spotlight coin bonus for black hole damage, so you can finish that out ASAP, and that'll be really nice. I always say for a lot of people, like for perks and the module shards, you'll definitely want to transition into those hopefully pretty soon. So maybe once you finish some of the labs that you're currently running, aside from the one that I mentioned to trade out into, like standard perk bonus and like the common drop chance for modules are really, really strong. Module shard cost down here, you can wait on that one. Like, it's not going to hurt your long-term game. And it's not going to have a huge impact on your short-term either. I would save the module shard cost, until much later on. Like, pretty much once you finish, I would say, like, your daily shards, your common drop, your rare drop. After that, I think that's probably about a good time to do that. Or if you're like, hey, I really want to finish up reroll shards first, do that first and then jump into marginal shard cost. You can just dedicate like a lab slot to that, and that way you just know, okay, here's the next one in the order. I'm just going to pick them up in order. Same with perks. A huge chunk of like a lot of the power that you get, like standard perk bonus, it doesn't look like much, but it's affecting everything. So it's affecting the waves required, with perk wave requirements. It's affecting how many coins you get through the coin one, how much defense you get, how much attack, just everything. So standard perk bonus is very strong. It's kind of deceptive. So yeah, really, really good one. Looks like you do have a rare drop chance, probably in your favorites here, it looks like. So that's good. Defense and energy shield. So energy shield, this is one that you're probably looking at once you get closer to when you have like a 100% uptime chrono field, and you're going more towards that glass cannon. So I think energy shield would be a good one that you could take off your favorites for now, and then much later on when you're taking significantly less hits, that will start to play a bigger role at that point. Let's see. I can't tell if you've got. Let's see. I think. Okay, yeah, you're already working on lab speed. Yeah, don't take that off until you're done. Let's see here. Going through, just looking at attack research. Okay. That looks fine where that's at. Defense research, that's fine where that's at. Out of there, I'd say if you are going to roll an Orb Devo kind of setup, you'll probably want to finish out your Orb Speed and your Boss Orb hit. So once you get a bunch of the stuff that you're currently cooking up, probably switch over to that. And yeah, the Orb boss hit is really nice down the line. It's always going to be useful. And if anything, I think it later game becomes even more useful. Let's see here. Grab my jimmies. Coins per wave. That lab's on a little bit on the anemic side, but that could definitely use some love. You definitely want your coins much higher than your cash. So, oh wait, that's coins per wave. Oh, never mind. I'm dumb. I thought I read that as coins per kill. Awkward laugh. Well, let's see. We got package after boss. That's nice. Package and then, yep. It's like maybe package chance has some work to do on it, and the enemy skips. Looks like that is also something that could use some help in there. I can't see the full thing. Maybe it was on another picture and I skipped it, but yeah. Let's see. It looks like chrono field range, chrono field duration. After you're done with the immediate set of labs, chrono field duration is really nice. It means that a lot of stuff is going to cost less in stones to get done for this ultimate weapon, and you'll need that for that transition into like hybrid and then eventually glass cannon. Waves required, I would just leave that as is, so I wouldn't pump that up anymore. That's perfect where it's at. Spotlight missiles, this becomes really powerful with once you have smart missiles, because all the labs for smart missiles and the damage from smart missiles apply to this. Very, very powerful. I think it's every 3 seconds, 2 seconds. I'm blanking. It's been a while since I've done this lab. But it's frequent enough where it's very important as far as like dealing damage. Now, not so much for farming per se, but for like tournament performance, holy hell, it's amazing. Let's see. Deathwave damage amp, that's great. Down the line, I told people go ahead and skip The armor stripping, I don't think anyone's going to be really using that a whole lot. Oh, extra orb adjuster. So if you do use the orb card, that's very nice. So you can place the orbs where you need to place them. Sorry about that. And speaking of that, I just remembered, because there is an orb perk, you'll still probably want to keep your orbs at 0. So when you do get orb perk, the perk orbs can take out the enemies. There's only 2 of them. You know, it's not too bad. There's going to be plenty of enemies that are going to be slipping by, so you can hoard a lot of enemies. So yeah, just level this down to 0. And then, yeah, if you want to get extra orbs going, yeah, it's pretty nice. Also, this plays into, like, the faster your orb speed is. The extra orbs will, pull from that. If you have boss orb hits, those will also apply damage to bosses. And it's a percentage. Percentage damage is very, very OP in this game. So, not too many sources nowadays that you can get, like, true percentile damage on enemies. But this is one of them. So it scales very, very, very well. It will forever be useful. Even if there's battle conditions that kick you in the butt. Let's see. Just going through here, looking spotlight missiles. Obviously, I already mentioned that. Oh, I guess this is a repeat picture. Golden bot duration. Obviously more duration on golden bot's really nice. In the perk waves, you already got that. And you got all the options. That's fantastic. And improved trade-off is already maxed too, so that's amazing. Enemy lab, not too worried about that. Don't care. And is that all? Is that all, folks? I think that might be all. So yeah, you got some good ones rolling right now. I would definitely take off that spotlight coin bonus for now until you've got more quantity for your spotlight or coverage in general. Yes, you can focus your targeting on enemies that are in Spotlight, and that could be helpful. But yeah, that's the only way that I could see actually getting some use out of those labs that you're doing right now for Spotlight coin bonus. Let me just go back to the ultimate weapons. Let's see, we've got... Yeah, so Knockdown Deathwave. I think that'll be pretty solid. And don't have any bots, so yeah. Alright. I hope you found that useful, and I will catch you later.